Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I wanted to do a deep dive into Deep Dives, the brand new seasonal activity in Destiny 2, because there's more than meets the eye with this activity. So, once you load in, you go through your standard underwater areas, you're going to then plant an egregore resonator, and then you're going to want to find a little kind of wisp of darkness similar to what we've got previously with Toland, and this is going to allow you to invoke darkness. This is very important if you're going to want to maximize the rewards of this activity. The only downside is all three members of your fire team, even if you're playing with randoms, have to invoke the darkness to do the next step. So what's going to happen is you're going to invoke the darkness. If you can get everybody to do that, tips, by the way, for getting your randoms over there to help you out that I found really work are either killing yourself with rockets or grenades, or just kind of getting in front of them and trying to guide them over there, maybe teabagging or something like that. I know that's frowned upon, but we're not doing it for a negative purpose. We're just trying to get their attention, because it does mean a big difference when you get to the end of the activity and you're going to get your final rewards. There's a couple different activities that can spawn from there. You can kill taken blights, whether they're in one of those taken bubbles or they're going to be floating through the air. There's a couple different variations of that. I don't know if I've done all of them necessarily, but they're pretty straightforward and easy to understand once you see what you have to do. This is going to actually make the activity harder as well. So keep that in mind. If you're planning to do this, if you're going to make sure that you are invoking the darkness, you're going to want to have a solid build on, because it can get kind of hairy in there if you are not ready for it. So I think a lot of people just don't realize that it can be improved, so they don't go in really expecting much. And the other thing about it is every single week we're going deeper into the deep dive, starting at 1,000 meters and then progressing this week into the 2,750 meters area. And each one of those is going to get progressively harder, especially as you invoke the darkness. So that is just something to keep in mind. It is going to get more difficult, and I actually like that a lot. I think it's a way to make activities harder if you want to. It's a completely optional thing. I know a lot of people will be frustrated as time goes on when their randoms are not activating the darkness in order to get those better rewards, but that's just something that we need to spread the awareness for the community, so that way you can either load in as a fire team of 3, invoke the darkness every time because you're all going to know what you're doing, you're going to be communicating, or make sure that randoms, as many of them as possible, understand how to invoke the darkness and what they have to do from there. Now, a big key too is once you invoke the darkness and you start doing the side activity, you cannot complete your current objective, otherwise that will fail the invoking of the darkness. You won't get the better rewards, and so that's something to keep in mind as well. You're going to want to make sure that you get the little kind of thing on the side that says darkness invoked. If you don't get that, you haven't completed it yet. So I've seen it where there'll be some of those taken blights all over the place and you might miss one. Make sure you get the prompt on the left hand side of your screen that tells you you have invoked the darkness, right? That is absolutely vital, otherwise you're not going to get the rewards. Then you're going to proceed through that level and you can beat it as per normal. You're going to have increased enemy activity, maybe a little bit harder of a time, but overall you're going to then proceed to the next round and you can do it again. So every level that you go, you're going to be able to invoke the darkness. It'll probably be a different activity once you do so, but keep that in mind as well, because it doesn't seem like a lot of people realize. We had that problem with our run where I was with randoms, where they did it for the first round but not the second round. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You're going to want to make sure you do it each and every time. Other than that, proceed through the mission. The final boss, when you've invoked the darkness both time, I don't know if this is normal, but I definitely found that the boss was harder. Not necessarily the boss itself, but that room in general. It felt like there was a lot more ads, a lot heavier ads, and it actually made the activity quite a bit more fun, in my opinion. I actually really like being able to select your difficulty level, essentially. I don't think that's something we've really gotten in Destiny 2 as far as like in just a match-made seasonal activity. We've got it before, obviously, with like you can pick either hero or legend rank or whatever the case may be, but we've never got it within an activity, so you can just load in and then see how it goes to determine how difficult you want it to be. Tips and tricks as far as handling this: bring some heavy weapons that are going to chunk down the boss. Make sure you're have the right build going. I didn't really have the one in the gameplay that you're seeing. That build was not really meant for the increased activity or this specific boss, because I was running Fists of Havoc as my super instead of something like Thunder Crash. So we probably would have been able to beat the boss pretty quickly had I been able to have the right super on, etc., etc. But I just love the point contact cannon brace build, so I almost never take it off these days. And to be honest, was not anticipating the randoms actually coming through and invoking the darkness. Other than that, just play the activity, have your right build going, have your teammates working together. You don't need to rush through anything. There's a time counting down on your screen when you are at the first 2 levels. It's going to tell you that a massive enemy is going to come at you. You definitely want to finish the entirety of the Invoking Darkness and then also the main part of that mission before that countdown actually hits, because I've seen a lot of people struggle once that does happen. So, yeah, overall, I've really enjoyed deep dives. This is such a fascinating thing to me personally, because it does feel like this is a massive improvement towards making the seasonal activities relevant, with not only harder content but also making it so you can kind of really go a little bit harder, get your build right, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Go through different objectives in order to get better rewards, which is absolutely vital. The rewards at the end are going to be, there's going to be 2 chests instead of just 1, and you're going to see on the left chest, it's going to say that you are what level you actually hit on that chest. So that's very cool as well. I didn't realize that when I was first doing this, which was nice. You definitely want to grab both of those chests. Don't be like me and almost miss it. But yeah, you'll get a tier 5 bonus chest as well as your normal chest, which again, very cool that they've done this. I really like this quite a bit, and it's something that I hope they do again in the future, because it kind of adds a little bit of intrigue, and it can be frustrating with randoms if they don't actually take part in this, but you want to get your tier 5 deep chest for sure. Anyway, my name is JoPa. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously, shows you want to see more Destiny 2 content from me going forward. I have a ton of builds going, and I am really looking forward to sharing my Iron Banner build with you guys, because it was absolutely insane this week. I've been really loving it so far, and it's not one that I think you guys will expect, so stay tuned for all that. My name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.